The new co-op mode for StarCraft 2 is a new and very welcome addition in my eyes. Co-op modes in RTS games are pretty rare, so it's always nice to see them around for a breath of fresh air. You also don't need to own Legacy of the Void to play it, but you will only have access to about half the characters currently in the mode. There are 6 different characters in total, with 2 for each race. They're divided somewhat by skill level, with the first 3 intended to be easy to play and the later 3 being a bit more tricky. Raynor, Karrigan, and Artanis are the first 3 who are also available to everyone, and the other 3 are Rory Swan, Zagara, and Vorazun, hope I've pronounced that correctly, who all require Legacy of the Void to play as. They all have unique playstyles, abilities, units, and upgrades which can be unlocked as you level up the various characters. The progression is linear, you don't get any choice as to what you want to unlock, but it works well as it is. Each race has their own unique mechanics going on. Terran have no cost global abilities with often long cooldowns. Think things like calling down the Hyperion or using Rory's laser for an extra powerful attack. Zerg have their leaders on the field as hero units who revive automatically in time if killed. The Protoss also have global abilities, but instead of really long cooldowns, they spend energy which recharges over time. To give an example as to how skill is divided via characters, if you play Karrigan, the first ability you get allows her to revive faster if she dies. If you play Zagara, the first ability you get cuts your supply cap from 200 down to 100, but speeds up the rate you hatch new Zergs. Combine this with the fact that so many of Zagara's units are highly disposable and you need a lot more macro play to get the most out of this, whereas with Karrigan you're punished less for your mistakes. This is great, it keeps the game from getting boring if you're good at StarCraft, but also allows you to play well if you're new to the game, so you're not holding your teammate back or anything. There are 4 difficulties in total: easy, normal, hard, and brutal, each providing extra experience for completion. The difficulty can certainly get hard at times, but we're already seeing players win brutal while at level 5, when that difficulty is intended for players level 15. If you know what you're doing, the difficulty can easily leave you wanting more, and it's certainly a problem with the mode at the moment. Hopefully they make it more difficult in the future. As it stands, I can't see this mode having a lot of long-term play for any experienced StarCraft players. I think most would just play it for maybe a week or 2 and then just get tired of the lack of difficulty for seasoned players. Now, one of the first things I noticed with this mode was there are a lot of assets that aren't being used here that are already in the game. They have said they'll be adding commanders later, so I'm sure those assets will eventually be used, but it's still sad to think how easily they could have added certain commanders in the game. For example, none of the Primal Zerg assets got used, so they could have added Dahaka as a commander who uses the Primal Zerg, or Mirahan could have used the mercenary assets that never got used here. All they would need to do is bring the voice actors in for some lines, then program and balance the new commanders. They could have very easily had more than 6, but I feel like they held back so they could release them later to keep people coming back to the game. I really hated the map variety. There are only 5 in total and all of them are some kind of defense mission or another rather than anything interesting. It would have been nice to see some more creative co-op maps that actually take advantage of the fact that the map is co-op. You could have a map where one player is on low ground fighting desperately against a large enemy force, while the other player is pushing the high ground trying to flank the enemy. But he also has side objectives which slow him down, though they help the player download through things like periodic reinforcements or towers, but each can also send air units and such to help the other. You know, a map that requires actual cooperation beyond sending your forces out at the same time. It just felt like Blizzard was being lazy with the map design, although I will admit the fact that the maps often change which faction you're fighting against does help the replay value. It is, however, made worse by the fact that all the co-op maps are based off of campaign maps, so none of them feel original if you've played through all of the campaigns, which is an absolute shame. I think this mode could potentially be a great step forward for StarCraft 2 and will allow them to reach and hopefully keep around a new source of fresh StarCraft players. I'm already seeing tons of free-to-play players in the game playing co-op mode, which is awesome, and there's definitely a lot of new players to the game as a result, but only time will tell if this mode keeps them around, rather than being a flavor of the month type thing. I'm not going to rate this mode because that seems dumb. Though I did enjoy it despite the map variety issues, it's pretty easy to recommend this mode for anyone looking to try out a modern RTS game or anyone with an interest in this sort of game. Thanks for watching.